Hey guys, you know what? I'm starting this new thing. It's called A Guy with a Mic, and I just had to do this because it's driving me crazy. I can't just keep listening to the news and not putting it out there what I think needs to happen because we're just heading into World War III. If we don't do anything, we're going to look back at this moment and think, oh my God, why were we so quiet? So, you know what? The reason we're actually in this, why did this stupid war start, is because we have an idiot of a president in the United States, and that guy was elected by the people. Unfortunately, did win popular vote, but that's because of people like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was not careful. He wasn't thinking about the impact of his endorsement of Trump, and I think now he's regretting it. Which, okay, yeah, it's coming back to you. So I just wanted to listen to this, and we'll just chat right after that.
Talk to him?
Occasionally, yeah. Occasionally, he'll send me a text. I get these like Truth Social posts of things that he's saying, but this whole fucking Iran thing, man. Like, did you see this coming?
No,
Really,
definitely.
you didn't?
I don't
You didn't see it coming? That's completely crazy. Are you stupid?
know. I mean, who did?
Me and maybe another 300 million people in the US.
I mean, when did he even decide? You know, their national security strategy they put out in November basically just said we've degraded their capacity. It's a win. There was no sense in which there would be additional action.
Yeah, that takes us really to an important point. Just last summer, Trump did what's called the 12-day war, where he said he obliterated the nuclear arsenal and capability of Iran. So how come he had to come back in here again? It looks like somehow Israel and Netanyahu convinced him to get in there. And you know what? Like, the question really is wag the dog here, instead of us deciding who's, the reason why we're going to be sending people over there. It's we're being basically do this for somebody else.
think it ushers in a new paradigm. Complete, like the older post-war era is just over. Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, articulated that at the World Economic Forum, probably better than the Trump administration did, saying very clearly that older rules-based order is gone. You saw AOC try to sort of articulate it, but she sort of fell apart at the Munich Security Conference in February. So this is an administration that is, I mean, and I don't even think they're thinking. I wrote a piece and I decided not to publish it because
Yeah, they're not thinking. That's the problem. This administration looks like they're full of incompetent people who are just not understanding about the implications of what they're doing.
I was sort of like, decapitation doesn't really work for regime change, but it's not clear that they're really out for regime.
Yeah. Decapitation does not work because it actually makes things worse. So if you go and kill the Iranian leader, which they did on day 1, and now we're on day 12, you've just made people more angry. Do you think that Iran is going to now unconditionally surrender? They're just going to get more and more upset. And the person who's taken in their place, the son, is even more of a hardliner. So we've actually dug ourselves a bigger problem. And are we going to become more safe? Now we have to worry about that Iran's retaliatory moves. They might be terrorist attacks in our own places. I mean, is that worth it? The stress of having to worry about whether your school is going to get bombed or you're going to be shot up in a shopping mall or whatever. That's just what we really hate. And we're so lucky here in North America to not have to worry about that. But because of the stupid war, we now have to.
Change, or they're just asserting power, shaking up things. I mean, some of it's art of the deal, changing the person that we're negotiating with. That's Venezuela and Iran. Is it really going to change those regimes? I don't think most people don't think so, but that I'm not sure that that's what they're going for. They're just going for an assertion of American power in service of American interests. And then what happens in Iran, what happens in Venezuela, I don't think they care that much.
That's crazy. So he just basically gave away the whole thing here. And this is a guy who's normally pro-Trump, and he just gave away saying, look, they don't actually know why they're in there. It doesn't actually make sense.
Wow. At least they're not behaving as though they do.
Well, neither thing made any sense to me. The Venezuela thing. I mean, look, they wanted him out forever, and he definitely stole the election to get in there in the first place, and he was a dictator. But at least that one was at least clean. They go in, kidnap him, get him out. This one's nuts. Like,
Completely nuts. I mean, you went into Venezuela. You just grab the guy and his wife and you take him out and you say you run the country. This is nuts. You cannot do that type of thing. And it's going to haunt them. It's going to haunt them because if we can do that to Venezuela, what stops somebody else from saying, you know what? We want to take out Trump. We want to take out the US president. We want to take out the Canadian prime minister. We want to take out the UK prime minister. Nothing. Because we're starting to flaunt those rules, which were considered things that everyone abided by. Let's keep going.
and what's happening in Tel Aviv, it's hard to know what's real and what's not, because there's a lot of fake video going around and a lot of weird posts on X. So it's, when I do peek in, it's hard to know, and you have to listen to Grok, and then Grok's dismantled.
I have to just say, why are we listening to Grok? That's crazy. Use Claude. Grok is pretty much already, he's shifted the algorithm to skew it to non-reality.
A lot of the fake videos.
Mm-hmm. What are the fake videos that you're thinking
This is
of
like
in Tel Aviv?
fake videos of, like an insane amount of bombs dropping down on the city. But it seems like there's a massive amount of destruction in Tel Aviv.
Yeah, I haven't checked in lately, but I'm assuming. Was that just today or
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the president is. There's been some just, Rubio said something about how, we had to act because we knew that Israel was going to act anyway. And I think people interpreted it. And then Netanyahu was in the White House a lot. I think this president has shown, whether you like him or not, and there's certainly things that I'm unhappy about and have criticized. But I think Trump is in charge. Like, he's making these decisions. There's nobody behind him. There's nobody pulling.
So is that a good thing that he's in charge of making these stupid decisions and not taking responsibility for his actions and just saying it's somebody else's fault when they just bombed the school and those 100+ school children died? Yeah. I mean, the buck stops with him, and he needs to take accountability for that.
For all of that, the Russians or whoever, or these now the Israelis, it's just, he's clearly, Elon gave him, $250 million, and he still, he didn't give him even the electric car credit, like Trump is in charge, I think that's one of the big lessons from this. And I think that means that there's not a lot of second order thinking here. Like, oh, what's the move after that? He doesn't know. He's just acting.
That's horrible. There's no second order. Forget about third order and fourth order. There's no second order thinking. This is a complete destruction of Trump's way of operating. He's saying it. This is the guy who's pro-Trump saying there's no second order thinking. He just thinks first order is like, I want to punch the guy in the face, but then doesn't realize the guy's going to punch him back harder. That's second order.
What's so wild about it is that this older foreign policy establishment, which, was like, let the experts decide what the right foreign policy, all these think tanks, and that's just gone now. It's just irrelevant in this presidency. And I don't think it'll come back. Like, if you get a Gavin Newsom or a President AOC,
President who?
I don't think, yeah.
For real?
I think she, for a minute before Munich, but I don't think it's going to come back. And I think that that's what the Prime Minister of Canada realized. I think that's what the Europeans are starting to realize, is that this is a completely different world that we live in than the one we lived in just a couple of years ago.
Which just doesn't make any sense to me unless we're acting on someone else's interests, like particularly Israel's interests. It just didn't make any sense to me. Like, if they had supposedly dismantled their chances of making a nuclear bomb, whether or not that's true, it's so hard to know.
He was unsatisfied, and just like he was like, I'm not getting anywhere in these negotiations.
Well, he was unsatisfied. Apparently, the Iranians were promising more than they've ever done. More they were willing to offer than what was in the previous treaty, that agreement that Trump ripped up. So, yeah, this was already planned. They already were planning to basically attack them during the negotiations. It's just such a bad, underhanded thing to do.
And I'm going to replace the person I'm negotiating with. It's just, turn over the table, like, change things up. You're not getting anywhere. And you could say he was too impatient. Their view was the Democrats were too patient with Iran. They kept trying with Iran. They weren't giving them what they wanted. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying I think
It's always interesting how just everything he says, oh, I'm not defending it. I'm not defending it. Yeah, I'm not. I was always on, I totally agree with this, how horrible this is, but yeah, I'm not defending it.
that's what explains it. They haven't done a very good job explaining it, because I think that it just sounds
So
to some
stupid.
extent like what it is, which is that they're acting without. They're sort of like, well, does it result in regime change in Iran? We don't know. They might say that we want that or whatever, but that's not ultimately. They're not acting on the basis of achieving regime change.
What just seems so insane based on what he ran on. I mean, this is why a lot of people feel betrayed,
That's why we
right?
feel
He ran on
That's why we feel betrayed.
no more wars
Hmm.
and these stupid, senseless wars, and then
Yeah, you
we
got
have
it.
one that we can't even really clearly define why we did it.
Well, but he said he's against endless wars.
Oh, that's a slight little change there, but no, that's stupid.
Well,
Running against endless wars.
listen, man,
So-
they're all endless.
Well, if
Did
we
you ever
put-
hear Rumsfeld talk about Iraq when it first happened?
Tell me.
They were talking about like 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Oh yeah,
6 weeks.
yeah. But they put that was ground force, and I know that they've not ruled that out. For me, that would be
They have?
They have not.
Oh,
my
no,
understanding is
I'm
that
sorry.
they've not. Yeah.
I thought you said and now.
Yeah.
Have now.
No. But they don't seem eager to go into. I mean, I criticized the Venezuela action because I sort of was like, how are you possibly going to run Venezuela? And then I think a little bit more time passed. And I was like, oh, they're not going to try to run Venezuela. Like, that's not what this is.
Okay, we got to stop right there because you could see how we can keep on going, but it doesn't stop. Look, I wanted to point this out because people like Joe Rogan are now finally coming around, understanding that this guy in the White House is crazy and it's going to take us all down with him. It's run by a group of incompetents, and people are just so stupid and have no understanding of the second order, third order, and fourth order consequences of their actions. You know what? We all need to stand up and say something. Because if we don't, we need to tell our leaders, whether I'm here in Canada, we need to tell our leaders that we can't support this. And that's the only way we're going to be able to stop this. So you're going to be hearing from me as I bring, my daily thoughts on this, because I think this is the biggest issue of our time right now. There's no point of worrying about climate change when there's not going to be any planet, or people are dying from bombs and all types of other carnage and horrible things. So hope this helps. You're listening to a guy with a mic. We'll talk to you soon.